Your Denver Broncos are playing a risky game of Sean Payton roulette, and it could go very, very badly, or it could be exactly what Sean Payton wanted to happen from the jump and be a massive upgrade in our coaching staff. We have a mock draft hot off the press that we've got to break down, get all y'all's opinion on it. If it goes that way, that and way more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben. Helps me and that YouTube algorithm out a lot if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. If I look sweaty or like flustered, it's because I just got back from a great workout. It was a 2-mile walk on the side of a highway as my car broke down. Come on, man. What a day. Let's dive in. So the risky move the Broncos are making is the Denver Broncos do not have a special teams coach on the roster currently. We know after the Kansas City blocked field goal that we had a resignation from our special teams assistant coach position. Then Sean Payton, first move of the offseason, fires our special teams coach. And everyone in Broncos country was saying, hey, well, we got Chris Banjo, who is a beloved figure in Denver, who easily could rise up the ranks and take that job. And that was the big leader in the clubhouse to get that job. Well, the New York Jets just plucked Chris Banjo off. And so the Denver Broncos currently do not have a special teams coach on this team. I think notably with this that Banjo was loved by special teams players. You hear that on a ton of interviews as it's Pro Bowl week. We're hearing lots of players come out and just say how much they love Banjo and seeing lots of hype in New York for him joining that coaching squad. And Will Lutz, our kicker, came out and just said, I have loved playing with him. I have nothing but respect of him. I got to play with him both as a coach and a player, and the Jets got one of them won. So kind of disheartening that we ended up moving on from Banjo, and the only way this makes any logical sense is if Sean Payton is 100% positive that we are going to land Darren Rizzi. If that is the case, like we'll be like, well played, Sean. Let's give you all your flowers, man, because that was well played. But it also could go horribly. Like, what if Rizzi ends up getting the head coaching job in New Orleans, which he is a candidate for? All reports are showing that it looks like it is going to be Kellen Moore. But the other thing is that a lot of people in New Orleans are saying that ownership group might throw the bag at Rizzi to stay there. He is a top 10 coordinator in every single league, or every single year he's been a coordinator. So that could be an absolute disaster for the Broncos. Hopefully this plays out how we want. But we're getting down to the wire where it's like the night before homecoming, and you could end up with the best looking date, or you could end up going by yourself, or maybe you like have a good looking mom who would take you, so you're not that embarrassed. That's just what happened to me in high school. So let me know, what do you think is going to end up happening? Do you think we're going to end up with egg on our face, or is this going to play out like Sean Payton wanted it to? We will keep an eye on that for sure. When it comes to pre-draft stuff, my absolute favorite is The Ringer. I've listened to Bill Simmons for a long, long time, and he's a Broncos hater. But I try to get past all of that, and his mock draft on his site is up. Love it. It lets you filter by like who are the best running backs and who is the best, who's the best pass catcher, who are the best quarterbacks, and it's a really, really cool thing. But their mock draft came out, and their mock draft has a couple notable things on here that are just very interesting. The first thing is everyone in Denver is talking about two people. It is Tyler Warren and it is Jonty, the running back. So it's interesting here that they see Ashton Jonty falling to the Bears at 10. I've heard that he could go as high as 4 or 5. I've heard that he could drop all the way to us at 20. I've heard the Cowboys might be targeting him, but that's going to be interesting. If he falls to 10, it's like, man, 10 picks up to get a game-changing running back. Do you do that, or do you try to answer the running back question in free agency? Looking here, this is something that would absolutely crush me. Tyler Warren in their mock drafts falls all the way to 14, and if he is still there at 14, the Broncos have the picks from Baron Browning. The Broncos are probably going to end up with compensatory picks as the either Zach Wilson or Jarrett Stidham are going to fetch us some compensatory picks when they sign a new deal somewhere else. So I would hate if we miss out on Tyler Warren by just 6 picks, but that they have Tyler Warren, game-changing tight end, falling all the way to 14 to the Indianapolis Colts. And then they don't have us drafting a safety, which is good. They have us going out and getting a game-changing wide receiver, Luther Burden III, out of Mizzou. So the couple things about him. His nickname is he is the Debo Samuel of college football. A small guy, more of like a slot type build, but insane speed. Obviously, the combine's coming up. We'll cover all of that, what his actual 40 is and shuttle time and all of that. But he is absolutely electric with the ball. When you talk about Sean Payton wanting that joker role that he has not yet found here, could this be that game-changing wide receiver that you want? Or would we be better off, ending up with one of the free agents who's a wide receiver who is better? Just looking at a couple of his highlights here at Mizzou, like you just see what he can do with the ball in space here. Absolute crazy. You see some showmanship there with high knees. Again, a 5'11 type build on him, and so he's not a massive dude, but this is a player that we have not necessarily had this type of talent in Denver for quite some time, and his ability to break tackles as well at only 5'11", and you see why he's getting that Debo comparison. We know that our wide receivers in Denver this year did not always thrive with their run after the catch. That Cortland Sutton is one of the worst receivers in the league for yards after catch. He's one of my favorite receivers, but that's just not where he thrives. And Sean Payton's offense could really rely on something like that. Mims, while he's a speedster, he's not fighting through dudes and breaking tackles like you see with a Debo Samuel. And so if Luther Burden truly is the Debo Samuel of college football, that'd be a pretty sick get. 20 might be a little high to get that, but let me know in the comments what you're thinking, because there are a plethora of other wide receivers in the draft and in free agency who could come into play. There are a lot of people rumoring that the Broncos might go out and try to get Cooper Kupp. He ended up signing like somewhat of a mega deal there in Los Angeles and will probably be cut. And so then the Broncos wouldn't have to pay that full price that they did when he originally signed that, and we see him just really fitting a need that the Broncos don't have. Obviously, we know already and have talked about the fact that T. Higgins is going to be on the market, that Godwin's going to be on the market, that even getting Wilson out of New York could happen, especially since Darren Moogie is now in New York and has that pipeline back to Denver. So it's going to be really interesting to see. There's also like some cool stories. So one of Bo Nix's adopted brothers, essentially, he lived with Bo Nix's family through a lot of high school and then during college as well, is Tez Johnson. And the thing with him is he is a very, very slight frame, like weighs less than I do. Obviously, I'm like an alpha male, but very, very slight frame. And so people kind of worry how that will translate to the NFL, but he has been absolutely unguardable in these off-season things. And I've watched way too many mashups of just him juking dudes out of their shoes. You see him getting open 4 or 5 times on that one route, seeing him win every single one-on-one. And he's a guy who people have falling to the 4th round. And so the Broncos are going to have multiple picks in the 3rd round with that Baron Browning trade. Might we try to get a Tez Johnson? And then something I saw here that I thought was wild, knowing that what Sean Payton wants is wide receivers getting off the bus, and you look at, you see a basketball team, a bunch of 6'4" dudes, and just seeing this here, I know we have Vele and Sutton, who are already massive, and Lil Jordan Humphreys, but seeing here Jaden Higgins, 6'4", 220, and just look at those hips. Like, that is like Beyonce level hip movement there. Just, oh my goodness, that wiggle and the separation that he's creating, and the fact that your catch radius is on a 6'4" body, absolutely wild. And again, that would be a late round pick that you could get that. So is it worth the Broncos using that 20th draft pick on a wide receiver, or are we better off to get a tight end with that 20th pick in that mock? You still had Cole Loveland, and we're a Colorado team. Like, we got 2 Lovelands. We got the Loveland by Fort Collins. We got Loveland where the ski resort is. Let's get Loveland as a tight end. That could be pretty sick. But let me know in the comments what you think will happen. And Broncos country, we got a ton to believe in.